Fashion retail landscape and environment. What is the fashion retail landscape? It's a diverse and rapidly changing environment. The landscape must adapt to ensure a positive customer experience, and retailers should be moving to stay alive and on top of competitors. The downfall of bricks and mortar. This was known as the retail apocalypse, where 16,000 stores were closed in 2019. This resulted in 117,000 retail jobs being lost, and 14,500 stores were closed in 2019. It was predicted that 25% of stores in US malls in 2017 will be gone completely by 2022. So here are some examples of retailers that have been permanently closed due to the retail apocalypse. For example, Sears, who liquidated in 2019. From 2006 to 2011, Sears spent a high valuation of around $5.4 billion on stock buybacks instead of focusing on capital expenses like refurbished stores, an e-commerce platform, etc. This led to a very poor customer experience. Unlike Sears, most retailers have a stock buyback program. This enables them to conserve resources amidst times where consumers are shopping less. This was a key mistake for Sears and was purely put down to corporate mismanagement. The management of Dress Barn actually admitted to not operating well enough in today's retail environment in order to stay afloat. So they said that closure was definitely necessary. So this was influenced by a lot of factors, for example, high price of running the retail outlets, which included rent and labour costs, and this eventually led to low profitability for some of the companies. Another factor for this was the low preparation and planning for the future. For example, rise in e-commerce, where people used to go to shopping centres for pleasure and sociability. Now we want things here and now. This is why Amazon generates more than 50% of retail sales today. We want it cheap and quick. So the death of the middle class is all about people, specifically in America, becoming upper middle or upper class, and the middle gap is vanishing. This is another reason for Sears' downfall, because their target market were middle class. The shift in consumer spending really highlights the issue of restaurant renaissance. As people having more disposable income, this shifts more from material goods to experiences, for example, eating out at restaurants. Another huge influence to the changing retail landscape is Brexit. So because of Brexit, 2019 had the slowest rate of spending growth since 2010. Spending on clothing had dropped by 5.2% in department stores. Hotel spending was reduced by 3.8%, and a third of Brits cut back on non-essentials. Almost 1/5 was stockpiling essential food just in case of shortages. 24% they said they wanted to support homegrown brands. So how was this affecting the retail landscape? During Brexit, there was a weak wage growth, meaning low household spending power. This meant that retailers were forced into discounting sales to encourage consumers to spend, and many retailers have suffered, like M&S and Debenhams, who had store closures and job cuts. The vote to leave the EU meant that Brits had to pay more tax due to the increased cost of importing goods. This meant the British pound was weakened. Obviously, this is a weakness. However, sales did boost when foreign shoppers took advantage of the exchange rate. Consumers have said that they want brands to be more transparent, as a lot are unclear on the new regulations, for example, regarding personal data. Specifying the country of origin will influence purchasing decisions. So at the moment, we're actually in a transition period. So this means that trade deals have not actually been put in place yet. If this isn't settled by the end of the year, then the World Trade Organization rules will follow. This means that tariffs on exports, custom checks at borders will all be put in place, and consumers face higher costs and reduced availability on goods. Also, because of the new regulations where EU citizens are now needing a skilled work visa based on points, retailers who have high rates of immigrant workers may need to focus on staff retention strategies. So now moving on to the current retail landscape and how coronavirus has affected this. So analytics have shown that France has fallen into a recession with a £6 drop in their economy, and store closures in Brazil have led to a 50% drop in retail sales. Consumer habits have definitely changed during this uncertain time and have shifted towards security and safety. Therefore, skincare brands are doing really well at the moment. People are purchasing more to feel good during lockdown, whether that be with loungewear, skincare, or everyday household items. And in doing so, mindless consumption has weakened, which was a serious problem before. Because of the pandemic, brands are also bringing a sense of unity to their consumers with mindfulness tips and how to stay positive during quarantine, rather than force-feeding people unnecessary marketing, which they definitely wouldn't appreciate. As we've been in quarantine for a few months now, there's been a huge reliability on e-commerce. This means that retailers like Primark, who haven't got an online platform, have been closed for months, resulting in masses of unsold stock. However, Amazon, who has a huge platform, has needed to hire over 100,000 new workers just to be able to cope with the demand. Here is some visual data which highlights what I've been talking about. For example, the huge drop in shoppers, the millions of workers that have been furloughed, and the majority of countries on the brink of recession. So during this time, some retailers are going to be a lot more successful than others, and here's the best action for the retailers at the moment. Firstly, prioritizing the high supplies and essential products that the public are wanting at the moment. Using strategies like shifting in-store employees to delivery services to keep consumers satisfied during the high demand is a really good idea in order to stay afloat and in control. Gen Z and millennial customers are very ethically driven, therefore ensuring safety of the workers is very key. This brings me on to my next point of the key players during the coronavirus pandemic and how they're doing their best to ensure safety and satisfaction for their consumers. So Apple have brought out disaster kits for employees. This consists of hand sanitizer, food, masks, and even iPad for children's home learning. Adobe has also given people free access to the cloud. This is for students working from home, and even LinkedIn has been given free learning courses. Data shows that 49% of consumers will pay premium for high-quality, verified safety products, and this is especially in China. This brings me on to my next point, Starbucks in China. They've offered digital ordering and payment, and staff take customers' temperature before they even enter the store. Another strategy to target this problem was also from China, and they provided the names of who made and packaged the food on people's orders and also their temperatures just for peace of mind. So lastly, I'm going to be talking about technology, which is one of the main factors in the evolving retail landscape. Especially during the pandemic, brands have relied on technology to advertise, sell, and engage online. For example, ASOS AR technology has allowed them to digitally fit new products onto models using 3D mapping whilst adhering to lockdown measures. Net-a-Porter have also showcased Chinese designer pieces on avatar skins to purchase virtually, and also smart retail, which has had a huge effect on not only retailers but consumers as well. For example, the John Lewis app. This allows the customer to know when they're near a store and if they have a click and collect parcel which is ready. This also saves time and lets staff know in advance for a seamless experience. Also, the new social media channel, TikTok, has been on the rise, with short film videos being the new marketing jackpot. Some brands have really jumped onto this new marketing tactic. For example, Chipotle, who partnered with David Dobrik. Together they created the Chipotle Lid Flip Challenge, which had over 110,000 submissions. Mac has also been working with TikTok influencers, for example Charli D'Amelio, in order to drive brand awareness throughout the platform and to reach a lot of Gen Z and millennial consumers. With social media being so powerful nowadays, the Black Lives Matter movement has blown up, especially on TikTok, giving Black people a global voice. Powerful trends have been circulating TikTok, using the audio "This is America" on top of videos of police brutality and white supremacy. Because of Black voices not being silenced anymore, racism is being looked into more finely. Even through football, voices are being heard and people are speaking out. A lady even came to TikTok to convince youngsters to register for the Trump rally and not show up. This led to nearly 1 million seats being taken up by people who didn't even bother going, and this really highlights how powerful social media is. So in terms of the fashion retail landscape, The Black Lives Matter movement, which was powered by technology and resilience, has made brands speak out, spread awareness, and show their solidarity. The brand that really stood out to me was Reebok, who said in their statement, "We are not asking you to buy our shoes, we are asking you to walk in someone else's, to stand in solidarity, to find our common ground of humanity." Some brands have actually been slated during the Black Lives Matter movement, for example, for just putting up a black square on Blackout Tuesday. However, Reebok are really using their platform to stand up against this matter, and even profits from their shoes are going towards funding Black Lives Matter. So, in conclusion, there are many factors influencing the evolving retail landscape. As many seem a threat to retailers, there is a lot of room for opportunity and adaptation. The importance of e-commerce has been highlighted during these uncertain times, not just in the UK, but globally. And understanding how consumers are influenced by external factors is key in determining whether a retailer will succeed.